In this video, we're gonna give you guys the combat art worst to the best. There has been a lot of recommendations or comments saying that I should do this since there's new ones, and a lot of them have actually been changed since the tier list. So I'm joined by Dr. Octopus here to show you guys what the best and worst fighting style in the game is, or combat art. So if you guys enjoyed this video, hit that like, subscribe, let's get right to the video, guys. Now coming in 10th place is gonna be the base combat style. Now the reason why it's gonna rank this low, obviously guys, it's just the base combat style. The only kind of merit to this style is that you do not have a weapon spec, so it can't really mess with your actual weapon or your mode or things like that, and sometimes they can overlap and mess each other up. But the only thing about base combat is if you're going to be using the mode weapon spec, why not just use a fighting style? This is kind of just the most basic thing as base combat style. Probably, you probably know that already. Coming in 9th place is going to be the water dragon fist style, which is actually one of the newest ones in the game. Now the reason why it's going to rank this low is because the slow M1s, honestly, it doesn't really matter. I'm going to be upfront and honest with you. The slowing on the M1s, it has a little slow effect like the water can ability. It's kind of useless when you consider it an M1 combo, because like the only main use you could say is because they can't move around that much in the M1 combo. If you struggle with hitting them with the M1 combo, why are you M1 comboing? Just use AoE moves, man. But the main reason why it's actually going to rank this low is because the weapon spec, you would think that this was actually good, but the actual end lag on the move is kind of insane for actually, using abilities and things like that. Not only that, but the cooldown is actually quite high, and the stun is actually like 0.25 seconds. So I'm sure you guys can imagine why that's why it's going to be this low. And it does pain me to say this because this is actually one of my favorites, because I do like water bending. Now coming in 8th place is going to be Muay Thai. Now Muay Thai is going to be coming in 8th place because even though Muay Thai has a lot of M1 strings, which is the only reason why it's going to rank this high, the actual weapon spec, you could actually jump out of the ragdoll stun. And not only that, but the weapon spec is very, very hard to hit on people in combos because the amount of duration it takes to actually stun them, most times rather than not, you will not actually be able to get it off. So if they made the actual startup time less, Muay Thai would be much, much better as a combat art. But for now, I just can't really recommend it over some of the other ones. Now coming in 7th place is going to be Jokai Fist. Now this is actually one of the main reasons why I actually wanted to remake the combat art tier list. The other two new ones being added was another reason, but I kind of overrated Jokai Fist a lot. Now the reason for this is because the weapon spec, even though it does actually have iframes, the actual second part of it, as you can see, the second part of it there with the rotation, it has so much end lag, and it's not iframes, so you couldn't get attacked during it. If they added iframes to it, it'd easily be top 3, but the reason why it's going to rate this low, it doesn't have iframes, which is very bad. As you guys can imagine, you're basically stuck in that animation letting people hit you, like smacking your cheeks together, man. Nobody likes getting their cheeks smacked together for the most part. But the actual M1s of Jokai Fist are very cool. At the end, you do actually have the M1 barrage. I'm going to show you guys how the M1 barrage actually can be used in your favor. So you can see he's blocking here. I'm going to do an M1, and then I'm going to go into the rotation. It actually is a block break. So even if you don't hit any of the M1s beforehand, the actual end of the rotation will block break. It also block breaks stronger block, which is actually very good, as you guys can imagine. But that's kind of the only merit to Jokai Fist right now, is kind of the fact that it can block break stronger block. Now coming in 6th place is going to be the clone combat. Clone combat's going to be coming in 6th just because the M1s are actually insanely easy to hit. Like, as you guys can see, every single one of the clones actually acts as a hitbox. So the actual M1 range of clone combat is a lot. But the main reason why it's going to rank this high is going to be for the weapon spec. The weapon spec does actually block break, which is really, really good for it being a ranged block breaker on a 14-second cooldown, as you guys could probably imagine. Not only that, but it actually does a decent amount of damage, and it actually auto tracks pretty well. So I'm going to show him blocking here. I'm going to use it from him pretty far away. As you guys can see, it does auto track really well. It does block break, and that's why it's going to rank this high. Now coming to 5th place is going to be boxing. Now boxing has actually received a major change, so the weapon spec doesn't actually knock them up anymore, but it has so much end lag that they can actually M1 you. So the only way you would ever be able to use boxing is if they actually block, because it is a auto tracking block breaker, which is actually very nice. So he's gonna block here. As you guys can see, you can M1 combo if they block, but if they don't block, you're basically, honestly, I'm gonna say it, guys, you're kind of screwed. They really need to remove the end lag on this ability, because right now it is just not that great. But the reason why it's gonna rank this high is because even though it does have the issue with them not blocking, it still is extremely good against people who are blocking, because it is an auto tracking block breaker. Hey you, yeah you, have you remembered to hit that like button on the video yet? If you haven't already, go ahead and do it. Now coming in 4th place is going to be MMA. Now MMA, tried and true, is a very, very, very good fighting style. Obviously guys, it's one of the best M1 combo extenders in the game for a fighting style. You have extended M1s, and then you can just weapon spec. You guys know the combo. M1 combo, weapon spec, M1 combo. You guys know it. There's not really much else to say about it. It's just good for M1 combos. If you're an M1 combo user, then MMA is probably going to be your best bet in all honesty. Now, coming in third place is going to be Jeet Kune Do. Now, this is actually a very interesting one because up until recently, Jeet Kune Do was absolute garbage. So with Jeet Kune Do, you obviously do have the extended M1s, and then the actual weapon spec actually puts them into an air combo. So as you can see, it knocks them up after a ragdoll and puts them into an air combo, which is extremely strong considering how many things you could combo with the air combo. So it's pretty much just an insane combo extender or combo starter based on how you want to use it. So I'm actually going to have him block here. I'm going to show you guys why this is actually so strong. So you can see he's blocking. You can actually go behind them and it actually will ragdoll. So it is a type of guard break, which is absolutely insane, you know, considering the fact that it is a combo extender, combo starter, and that's why it's going to rank it third. It's just actually good now. Now coming in second place is going to be Gravity Art. Now the reason why Dr. Octopus is going to be showing us this is just because I don't have it yet, but I will have it eventually. So as you guys can see with the M1s, it actually does ragdoll, which is actually a really cool effect. I mean, sometimes it can mess you up because sometimes you get flung away from the ragdoll, but it is very cool. You know, the actual M1 effects are very cool. But the main reason why this is actually going to be so insane is because of the Q spec. As you guys can see, he just hit with the Q spec. It's extremely fast, has really good auto tracking, and actually it does a lot of damage. So I'm gonna go ahead and run around. He's gonna use the Q spec on me. So he's gonna use the Q spec on me. As you guys can see, the auto tracking is actually very nice. So even if it doesn't actually hit you because you're extremely fast, you still get ragdolled, which is absolutely insane considering that it takes almost no effort to actually aim it because it is auto tracking. This is also the newest combat art in the game, so it probably will get some changes, but for now it actually is really good. Not to mention it actually has a really low cooldown as well. By the way, guys, what is your favorite combat art in Shindo Life? Feel free to tell me in the comments below. I'm actually really curious to find out what the most popular is. Now coming to first place is going to be Toad Flame Spirit, which is actually the Jaramaki fighting style. So the reason why this is going to rank this high is not only because it does have like really good extended M1s, it has a lot of M1 range as well. As you guys can see, it's hitting it from here. It does have a pretty good weapon spec that does a lot of damage. The burn effect especially does a lot of damage, but the main reason why it's going to rank this high is because it's one of the only ones you could use with weapons. So I am going to equip Ryan Blade here. As you guys probably know, this is actually a very casual combo here. So I'm going to do head 3 M1s. As you guys can see, he's actually burning. That effect is from the fighting style. It's like having the flame kendo without actually having to use chi. And as you guys can probably imagine, that is very good. Combined with the fact that the weapon spec isn't, you know, it isn't the worst thing in the world and you can use it without a weapon. I feel like the fact you can use it with a weapon kind of is the reason why it's going to rank this high. And that is absolutely insane. Anyways, guys, that's actually be for this video. If you guys enjoyed this video, hit the like for more. So guys, bye-bye.